done such great movies like um the movie trilogy Hotel Transylvania. That's a great movie. And Sony has done great movies of Spider-Man recently. Um and they have connections to Amazon and both Disney. They signed a deal with Legendary Pictures. Legendary Pictures has done great animations for Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers, as we know, has a toxic corporation, has had a toxic environment. There were even rumors that when Legendary Pictures was working with Sony, was working with Legendary Pictures, they had a toxic environment. Warner Brothers had a lot of toxic, a lot of negativity with Legendary Pictures. They had this before. They did this again to do Godzilla. They did the great Legendary Pictures helped to make the great animations of Kong and Godzilla. And the fact that all those monsters have moved from Warner Brothers all across the sea to Sony, and of course I'm talking about the kaiju, Kong, Godzilla, moved from Warner Brothers, the toxic corporation that makes the mech and toxic environments, Mechagodzilla, Warner Brothers, to Sony Studios. It's quite incredible. I think it's a great move for Legendary Pictures, considering they've done a lot of beautiful work with animation, and Sony has really moved up. They've had issues before with Spider-Man stories I've heard and all that. That they moved when they did when they did the relationship with Legendary Pictures. They had this closing with Legendary Pictures. I keep mixing around. I'm so sorry. They keep they kept doing a toxic environment. They did not tell Legendary Pictures that they were deciding to move with the COVID pandemic and everything. They decided, okay, without even telling them, we're gonna move both Godzilla and Godzilla King of the versus Kong to both HBO Max and theatrical release. That is toxic to the bone. Now, I was all for this. Actually, I didn't know that they didn't tell Legendary Pictures. I thought this was a beautiful thing that Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures decided to do. And that was my mistake. I didn't know that Legendary Pictures didn't even know. Cuz that's really bad. I mean, Warner Brothers has become this toxic work environment. The movie and studio industry, not the video games, I don't think. Um like Rocksteady's beautiful. Rocksteady going strong, including, oh my gosh, that Batman reveal of the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Oh. But besides that, this is exactly why. This gives a great reason of why Warner Brothers is such a toxic environment. I mean, they even let this guy, Ezra Miller, who's have multiple episodes on the works of the Flash movie, which is a Flashpoint movie, which if you don't know, go read the comics. He's had a lot of toxic environmental breakdowns, Ezra Miller, and they've let him do this. And now they even let their own studio workers be toxic to other studio pictures See, this is why Warner Brothers or Cartoon Network should just shift from Warner Brothers to just doing Boomerang, to just being on Boomerang, honestly. Because, like, Boomerang is such a different IP and a different district. I could be wrong, but it's a different playing field. You know, a different, I don't know, I don't know what to call it. Playing field. I guess that's a better way to decide it. I mean, Warner Brothers has become this toxic environment when it comes to movies and studio releases. They have become this toxic company that has become shifting. Now, the fact that, now moving away from Warner Brothers, I'm done with Warner Brothers. Now, the fact that Sony has done an amazing job working up themselves from becoming this toxic or becoming a little negative. The fact that they settled down and said, okay, we're not going to be mean to studios. We're going to work with them. We're going to let Disney do some work on Spider-Man with letting them do this, play their ball role, play their ballparks, and Disney has done a really great job until the sight of Bob Chapek. That guy was an idiot. That guy. There was a lot of negativity that guy did actually on Disney, and the fact that they have Bob Chapek or Bob Saget. I forget which way, but I think it's Bob Chapek did a lot of wrong. Bob Saget has come back and done the works that Bob Chapek did wrong. So, but otherwise, I'm really excited. I have heard that there's a lot of negativity, toxicity with the fact that Sony and Disney working with to make this Spider-Man series sort of a prequel before uh, Captain America Civil War or before Avengers Infinity War. I forget which prequel it is, but I know it's like a. I also heard it's like a time um alteration. So like around the Loki series, the end of Loki season 1, he skewed uh Sylvia skewered the timeline by killing that one Kang, who we will see in Kang Dynasty Avengers and um Loki season 2, I think also, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which I highly do not recommend seeing because that woman, I always forget her name, but it's Equitifa Evelyn. I think her name is Evelyn. She has done a lot of toxicity against the COVID mandates and the COVID protocols, and the fact that they've kept her on this. It's some remarkable, that bitch. Anyway, Sony has done a lot of great works, is what I'm saying. And they had a lot of connections with Amazon and Disney. Legendary Pictures can go all the way with Sony, working with Sony. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful representation of a good company and a good business. I think Sony is, including Sony with their PlayStation. I don't know anything about that, but it shows that Sony has really worked up the entertainment industry to a good, positive level. Where Warner Brothers has completely went communist and completely went AWOL nutso and has let cult leader actors go wild, if you know who I'm referring to. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Legendary Pictures moving to Sony. I think that's a great thing.